friend, my new friend, because I can pronounce his name, Vajesh Sanigra.
That's correct. Yeah, Vajesh Saniga.
Yay! Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so get us started. Tell us more about you. We want to
Yeah.
get to know you.
So I'm Vajesh. I'm from the UK, and I'm a like to describe myself as a graphic and digital designer. So I do both, the print side of things, but also do a lot of web, social media, animation side of things as well. I've been working for about 5, 6 years now, so not got huge amounts of experience, but I'm still learning, but I'm enjoying the process, and being a designer is great. So yeah, that's a little bit
Cool.
about me in terms of what I do at the moment.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to start. I'm going to just start talking about some of the projects that I saw on your website.
Yeah,
So, Zoomix.
yeah, that.
Okay. Tell us about that project. How did you find that client?
So that was it was like a lot of my clients, they kind of word of mouth.
Okay.
So I first started out doing a logo for a burger company out in Canada.
Okay.
And they've become quite big now. I think they've got about 6 or 7 restaurants in Canada. Um, and it was a friend of the owner who contacted him and said, "Who did your branding? We'd love to.
Wow.
We want to get a kind of a milkshake place going. Um, could you recommend?" So it was like I said, it was just more word of mouth, and that's generally how I get a lot of my clients now. So yeah, it was an interesting project, especially when you work with international overseas clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got to be mindful of timing and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a very good process. It was quite an easy process and a good client to work for. I think, unfortunately, with the whole COVID situation, they've shut down and had to kind
Oh.
of restructure certain things. Um, but in terms of, like I said, in terms of the actual process of going over a video call with them, working out the initial side of things, what they're like, getting a mood board together, because that's generally how I work with, especially within branding, is I'll sit with the client, and the way I like to do it is make them feel part of the process as much as I can,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and have their say on it, as because at the end of the day, it's their little baby as well. So would sit down, I'd get a mood board together, run ideas by them. Do you like this? Do you like that? What colors are you feeling? What kind of vibe are you going for in the actual, the physical store? How is that going to look? And then would start the process there on. And like I said, I generally have a lot of touch points with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very back and forth. So sometimes when it is with international clients, it can take a bit longer because of
Right.
me sending an email, sending it, what do you think? And then they'll come back maybe the day later. So there is a bit more time in that. But I think the more time spent, I think you'll get a better result. And for them as well, at the end of it, they'll feel part of the process, and they may feel, look, I had a big part to play in this as well. So yeah, Zoomix was an interesting client of mine.
So when they came to you, did they have did they discuss or voice a specific problem? Like had they worked with or tried to work with other designers or what was the
No,
situation?
it was more they just kind of they were a startup, so they
Hmm.
were just starting out, and like I said, I think it was more just because he had that connection with the previous. It must have been his friend who ran that
Hmm.
in Canada. I think that was his first go-to, and he kind of said, "Look, would love for you to recommend whoever did your branding," and it was just an easy process from there. I think because he liked the work, that I was doing, he was almost happy to just go ahead with the first option, which
Which
is
is
good for
not
me, I guess.
which
Yeah,
which doesn't happen often.
No, yeah, exactly. It doesn't. So yeah, I was blessed like that in that
Okay.
situation. 100% blessed with that situation. But moving forward with that, it's the same kind of situation where not just obviously in the UK as well. I've had word of mouth of people just using my services and had a good experience with that. So I've generally just got work through that. Lucky enough, I've
Okay.
not had to go out and search for too much,
Yeah, you are
which is
lucky.
a blessing. It
So,
really,
what did you learn from that project? So, of course, you had great success,
yeah.
but through every process, we learned something. So, what's
I think it was more. There were certain situations where, as a designer, I feel you're you're quite passionate to the designs that you do, right? And
Mhm.
you may have some options on the table that you lay out, and you think this is the perfect design for this client, and I sure hope they go for this. But then they choose something that you've
Never choose?
done, but yeah, you're looking at it, you're like, please don't choose this, and they choose it, and it's that. I guess for me, it's that trying to get away from no, like just trying to get away from the fact that it's not for me.
Mhm.
As much as I can. And I've always struggled with that, just because for me, I'm like, I want things to, visually look good, but also have a lot of my logos, I generally try to put a little bit of a, heritage or a meaning behind it as well. And
Mhm.
so it's trying to get past the thing of, it's trying to overlook the fact that it's not for me and it is for the client. So whatever they choose, I should respect that. And
Yeah.
if they're happy to go with that, then and that's fine. So yeah, there was, I guess, with that project, there was a lot of back and forth with where it, I guess a lot of designers probably relate to me in this, is where it first started and the
Mhm.
first logo that you designed to where it ended, and it could be so different.
Different.
Yeah, it could be so different, and you're looking at it thinking, God, when I first started, it looked like this, and now it's, and
Mhm.
it may not be to your taste, but it's to the taste of the client. So yeah, there was a lot of back and forth with that one.
Mhm.
So yeah, for me, it's just a case of just understanding that it is not for me at the end of the day, it is for them. So I can only voice my opinion and explain why they should go for something like this. But then if they choose option B, then so be it.
And you're so right in it, accepting that you're providing a service.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is a difficult thing to out different design ideas and things like that. You've poured everything into it. But may I share what I started doing to help me get over that
Yeah, really.
years ago? I found another company after the project was closed out that was similar,
Okay.
and I would pitch them the design that was not chosen
Okay. Yeah.
at a cheaper rate and say, if you accept this, I can give it to you at this price, you
Yeah.
know. And what I would do is change the name and things like that. But that's it. And I
Smart.
made what I call secondary sales and garnered new relationships with some businesses that I just found where, in my personal opinion, probably yours, you're like, oh my goodness, they could use some branding help, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and reached out to them. And so because you have a complete mock-up and visuals already ready for them, they can see their brand being transformed. And also, it wasn't lost work because you
No.
did make some money off of it.
Yeah.
And you also built a new relationship. So that started working for me. And that was something I did years ago, especially when the client chose like the worst one that I would not have chosen. So it was like a dagger in the heart. And I was like, I gotta heal this wound. And that's what I started doing.
It's a smart idea, though. It's a very smart idea. I mean, you're saying it now, and I'm thinking there's a lot of as designers, we generally tend to, we don't give one option. We're given
Mm-hmm.
5, 6, 7 options, and those, like you said, those logos just kind of sit in the back burner and just in a folder, which you probably won't see the day of light. So
Right.
to use it and be able to make a sale off it is definitely a thumbs up, 100%.
Yeah. So, okay.
Love that.
So during your initial consult, because you say you like engaging the person in the process and you do the mood board and things like that, do you have any type of education or some questions to gauge where your client is in their understanding about the branding process?
Yes, I generally send them a question, like a question form to fill out before, I guess, moving forward.
Hmm.
And those questions will be generally for, I guess, for both, because sometimes, for me, obviously, to understand the company or the business or the individual, but also, I guess it for them, because when you start to type things out or write things down, it starts to bring more ideas, and it may,
Hmm.
provoke certain thoughts. And like I said, it's just for both. So what I'll do is ask, what their business is, what their service is, where they want to be in the next 5 to 10 years, and also the main one is their target audience, their target market, who they're trying to attract. Is it, your millennials? Is it Gen Zs? Is it, the older generation? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to communicate? And those things will then, I guess, lead on to then the visual style, the imagery, the colors, that I will then put into the mood board.
Hmm.
That information, it will dictate the type of visuals that I feel would fit. Sometimes I can get it wrong, and we'll go back
Hmm.
and we'll start again. But I generally try to gauge them, with those certain questions, just to get an understanding of what they want to achieve, really. And then going on from that is just how do we, I try to give them as much advice as I can. So not just within the branding, but also within the social space. So I work a 9 to 5 job as well.
Hmm.
So I work in a social media marketing agency. So with that, I've picked up certain skills on, how to create a good social media presence, the tone of,
Hmm. Hmm.
so anything around social media, I'll try and give them as much advice I can. And that's not, I don't put that in my remit in terms of payment. I just kind of just do it. Because
Okay.
for me, it's, if I can help that business grow, then
Hmm.
I know in the future it may help me, because they would want more work doing. So it's like helping them to help me.
Right. Relationship building. Everything's about relationships. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the, I guess, my strategy in that sense.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go on a journey. Okay.
Okay.
If you were talking to Vajesh 5 years ago in 2015, what would you tell him
Oh,
in regards to his career? I'm not going to get personal.
oh God. What would I tell myself? Um, just don't overthink. I
Hmm.
think, especially with myself, I overthink a lot. I'm very much and it sounds so cliche, but I'm just very much a perfectionist. Everything
Mhm.
has to be precise, and I overthink too much, to the point where there'll be a design, or there'll be an animation piece that I've done, and to others it's absolutely perfect, but to me it's not, and I'm just
Mhm.
there plugging away at it constantly. So yeah, I'd say in terms of like career wise and working wise, probably just to not overthink and just let it be, just let it happen. Um, and I say that more with, um, I guess, my personal design side, rather than the branding sides, because obviously you wouldn't really go just let it be for branding, because that's just not my choice. But for my personal side, because I do a lot of, I have my 9 to 5 job, I do freelancing on top of that, which is my branding.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the side, I have a lot of passion projects that I just generally put out.
Okay. Okay.
So it's just juggling the three.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say just don't overthink.
Okay. So you say, Vajesh, do not suffer from analysis paralysis.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love the way you put that.
Okay. All right. So we're in 2025 now.
Okay.
What does your life look like?
Hopefully, I would say for me, it's building on my passions. So the branding side of things, but also my side projects and the side hustles that I do, to the point where it's its own entity, it's its own business, and I can run
Okay,
it.
so you're not working a 9 to 5
Exactly.
anymore. Okay.
And
Okay.
bringing that to life, and I think for me personally is to lead the route that I've gone over maybe the past year, a year and a half, is to use my design skill to educate and give back.
Mm-hmm.
So personally for me as an Asian or South Asian designer is to I guess champion it, because as a South Asian or as an Indian designer, it's very hard to be accepted in the
Mm.
industry, not just in the industry, but in your own community as well.
Mm-hmm.
We're stuck with that stigma of, no, you have
Mm-hmm.
to be a lawyer, or you have to be a doctor, or
Mm-hmm.
um, a businessman, and so it's to try and break out of that mold and make people realize that there is a career in it, and that that you can make a livelihood out of it, even if you are of an Asian background. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'd love to, in the next 5 years, be able to champion that voice, and especially as a British Indian, is to just kind of
Yeah.
forward 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I want to stay plugged into those efforts. I really want to. Because I could connect you with quite a few people who have a similar background.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
good.
So, how can everybody reach you? Give us your website, Instagram, whichever one you wanted
Yeah.
to.
So they can reach me on www.vsdesigns.uk.
Okay. All
And
right.
my Instagram handle is @_VS Designs.
Okay.
Um, and I'm quite active on Instagram, so you'll probably find me more on there.
Okay.
Especially with a lot of I do put on my branding projects, but recently it's just a lot of my passion projects. So recently I started a lot to do with my culture and religion. So
Okay.
creating a whole plethora around that in terms of just minimalistic icons, that like godly icons.
Hmm.
So I'm doing that along with animation and looking at AR. So selling
Mm.
prints that people can bring to life through their phones.
Wow.
So it's an interesting combination of print and,
Yeah, it is.
that whole thing of it marrying is wicked.
We should have led with that.
Yeah. I mean, people can go see it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's been. I mean, to be fair, that's one of the pieces just behind me. So
Okay. Cool.
I generally tend to sell and trying to create just a new wave of, or reimagining how people see because I'm of a Hindu faith, so just trying to reimagine how people would see the Hindu faith and
Right.
get involved with it, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that's what you'll probably see a lot of on my Instagram, basically.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been a joy. I have thoroughly enjoyed laughing, learning, and just loving what you do and
So much, man.
your special thing that you bring to the world. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
That's no problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Yeah.
Okay, bye.